Hey everyone, this is another video in our Shopify upgrades series where we recreate features of successful e-commerce brands. And today we're taking a look at PopFlex. They're an activewear brand that's gone viral because Taylor Swift was wearing them in one of her music videos. So this brought in tons of business for them and they were selling out. But if you limit order quantities like we're seeing here, you can actually more tightly manage the supply. And that creates scarcity, which in turn actually increases demand because now it's even more exclusive and hard to get than it was before. But limiting order quantities isn't a standard Shopify feature. So unless you're on Shopify Plus, which costs thousands per month, then you're kind of out of luck. But in this video, I'll show you how you can add it to your store for free. We'll give you a quick tour of what the customization looks like. We'll show you different ways you can adjust the settings so it works for your store. And then we'll show you how you can add this feature into your store. We do our best to make useful tutorials for you, but if you need something more personalized and want to hire us to help, then check out our website at theprompted.co. Link is in the description. All right, let's dive into minimum and maximum quantity rules for Shopify. So you can see here on our demo store that we've got this messaging down here under the quantity selector, minimum of 5, maximum of 10. So if we try to go less than 5 or more than 10, it doesn't let you, right? So you can only add between 5 and 10 into cart. If we go to a different variant, you can see here that this actually changes. So minimum of 2 in this case, maximum of 10 in increments of 2. So we can actually jump by 2. And so you can see here, if we go to a different variant, again, we've got a different set of rules. Okay, so let's add this product to cart. And you can see here, we actually have this little pop over here, right? So we can see what our rules are. Increments of 2, minimum 2, max 10. And in this case, it's a different set of rules, right? This one's max 5. And so we have these different rules for these different variants. They show up differently on the cart page, and they can also show up differently on the product page, right? So depending on the one you select, it'll show up here. But we can actually also set the rules to behave on the product level. So why don't we jump into the theme editor and take a look at some of these settings. Okay, so we're in our theme editor now, and in the theme settings, we can scroll down and we have this new area here, custom quantity rules. Now your theme isn't gonna have this area yet. Later in this video, I'll show you how you can add it to your theme. But for now, we're just gonna look at the settings of what you're gonna get later on. And so we have this checkbox here, enable custom quantity rules, and that's actually just our master switch. So if we go to our default product, let's go to the product we were just looking at. So rules. Okay, so this product here has some rules set, and if I uncheck this box, you're going to see those rules go away. And so essentially what we've done here is we've made the theme behave as normal. It doesn't matter if you put the rules in or not. If you uncheck the box, the rules just will not appear. Now, if you check the box, then what we've now done is enabled the ability to add rules. And so not every product will have rules by default. You have to add them in by metafields, which I'll show you in a second. And this is one of the products where we've added those rules in. And as we saw previously, it was set to variant rules where each variant can have a different rule. It doesn't have to, but it can. Well, if we set it to product rules, then what we're going to be doing now is, let's just save this first and let's just refresh. So now what we've done is we've said that the rules apply on a product level. And so it doesn't matter what the different variants are in the cart. So in this case, we've got 4 red extra small and 1 white extra small. From a rules perspective, what it sees is a quantity of 5 of this shirt, right? So 4 plus 1, and we can see here there's 5 in cart, and it's only going to let us add up to 10. And so we can just say do a completely different variant here, 3XL large. It's only going to let us add an additional 4, right? Because it's an increments of 2 here. So it's add to cart. And now we have 9 total in cart. And if I try to check out, it's actually going to, it's going to throw an error. right? Because this one here is telling us that it has to be either 0 or 2 because we're in increments of 2. That's part of the rule. So we can add another one here, and now we can either go to 0 or 2, and we can check out. So these rules are actually quite powerful, right? We can adjust what the customer can add to cart from the product page, and then on the cart, we actually have these checks to make sure that the rules are still applied before we can check out. If the rules aren't properly applied with what's in the cart, it's going to prevent you from checking out. So now we've seen how the rules can work. We've seen them work on a product level. We've seen them work on a variant level. But what if you have some products that you want to make sure that it's on the product level, and in other cases where you want it to be on the variant level? Well, we actually have a way to override the default behavior. So here we've said that product rules is the default behavior. Let's just set it back to variant rules. And then let's go to a different product actually. So this here is just a duplicate of our previous product. So right now this is prompt original t-shirt quantity rules demo. This is t-shirt 2 quantity rules demo. So it's just a duplicate of the previous one. Even the rules are completely duplicated. But we have this meta field here, quantity rules type override. And here we can select variant rules or product rules. And so if the default is variant rules, then we can override it with product rules. And so let's just save that, which it actually already is. So let's just navigate to this product. Okay, so we've navigated to the product, and you can see here, it doesn't matter which variant we're choosing. It's always going to be the same because this is product rules. So if I add 2 different variants into the cart, right? So we can see here is 4 in cart, but it's actually made up of 2 of the blue extra small and 2 of the green extra small. However, if we go to our first product, you can see here that the rules are applied on the variant level, right? You can see it changing there. So that's how we can override it, and we can choose on a product level whether we want the rules to apply by variant or by product. And finally, how do we actually set the rules, right? And so we do that by using a meta object. And so let's come back out here, and let's open up a new tab. And you can see here we've got this quantity rule meta object, and we have these meta object entries set here, right? So increment 1, min 5, max 10, right? So you got this increment here, minimum 5, maximum 10. And so we can change these numbers to match whatever rule you want. And then it creates an entry that you can select in your product. And so when we go to our product like this, we can either choose it on the product level, right? So we can change it to the different ones. Or if you want to do it on the variant level, then we can say bulk edit. And if you don't see this here, then you can check your columns and turn on the metafields. And then you can see here every single variant, we can select a rule, right? Or we can not have rules, right? So if we just go to a regular product, let's say just a prompted original t-shirt. In this case, the meta fields are empty, right? So there's actually no rules. We can add as many as we want to cart. So I don't know, maybe we want 99 of these. No issue, we can order as many as we like, right? So those are the different ways you can use the rules, how you can set it up to make it work for you, how you can isolate certain products to use the rules. And yeah, so if that looks like a useful feature for you, then let's add it to your store. Okay, so we're in the themes area of our Shopify admin, and we've just installed a fresh new version of Dawn. It's version 15.1.0, which is the latest version at the time of recording. So this is a fresh theme. We haven't done anything with it yet except just to rename it. And we're going to make some of the changes on this theme so that we can add our minimum and maximum quantity rules to it. So the first step is actually to set up our meta objects and meta fields. And so let's do that right now. So let's go to settings, custom data, and we're going to set up a meta object definition. So add definition, and we're going to call this quantity rule. And so this name is pretty important. We're going to want it to be the type quantity underscore rule. That's the name that we're going to be looking for in the code, so it should match this exactly. And we're going to add some fields, and all the field names are also very important because we're going to be looking for those field names as well in the code. And so the first one is going to be a single line text. We're going to call this name, and we're going to make this a required field. Next, we're going to create an integer, and this one is going to be increment, and it's going to be a required field with a minimum value of 1. And we'll add. We're going to do another integer. This one's going to be very similar, except it's going to be called min. But again, this is going to be a required field with a minimum value of 1. And then finally, a last integer. This one's max. It's going to be a minimum value of 1, but it's not going to be required because we don't necessarily need to set a maximum. Okay, so let's add. And now we can save. And once we've created our meta object definition, we can create our meta fields. And so let's start with the product meta field, and we're going to add definition. And we're going to call this quantity rule. Again, it's the same name. We're just going to call it quantity rule, but it's going to create a namespace and key. So again, the key here is also very important because we're going to be looking for this quantity underscore rule in the code. And so we're going to make this type meta object, and we're going to select the meta object we just created, quantity rule, and save. And then we're going to come back out, and we're going to do the same thing for variance. So variance, add definition. We'll also call this quantity rule, so that the namespace and key is custom.quantity_rule. Select type will be meta object again, and we're going to use our quantity rule meta object. All right, and then now we're going to create one last meta field. It's going to be another product meta field, and this is the override. And so we're going to add definition, and we're going to call this quantity rule type override. And this is going to be type single line text. And it's going to be one value, limit to preset choices, product rules, and variant rules. Okay, so the name here is, and also the choices are all very important because the code is looking for exactly this here. So this key here, quantity underscore rule underscore rule, quantity underscore rule underscore type underscore override. So we're looking for that in code, and also product rules and variant rules. We're also looking for that in code. So make sure that you name it exactly as you see here. And now we've finished creating our meta object definition and meta fields. And so we can head back into the themes area of our Shopify admin. And now we can edit code. But before we start, as always, just make sure you duplicate your theme. In this case, we've got the maximum here, so we can't, but we're using a fresh theme, so we should be okay. But for you, if you're going to be working off your existing theme, duplicate it first so that if anything goes wrong, you can always revert back. So let's edit code. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the settings underscore schema. And this is a file that shows all the settings of the theme. So we can actually go to customize theme. It'll open up the theme editor. And if we go into the theme settings here, all of these settings here are defined in this file. So for example, if we go to the cart, and you can see here cart type, pop-up notification, drawer, page. So if we just Control F and look for cart, it'll take us near the bottom, and you can see here cart type, drawer, page, notification. So this here is the menu items for the cart. And so we're going to come just below that actually. So if you can highlight the curly bracket here, it'll show you its pair, the paired curly bracket that closes it. Add a comma, and we're going to copy and paste our quantity rules settings. So right there, we can save. And now if I refresh, we're going to see our new settings show up right there. Scroll back down, there we go, custom quantity rules, and those are our settings. Now, these settings aren't going to do anything just yet because we still have to add more code to look for these settings and change some behavior based on that. So let's do that right now. So the next file we're going to update is the main cart items.liquid file. And so this is the cart page, and we're going to be updating the rules so that on the cart page, those rules are applying just the way we saw in the demo earlier in this video. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to hit Control F, and we're going to be looking for item.variant.quantity rule. So if we just copy and paste that in, this is exactly what we're looking for. And if you hit next, you're going to find a whole bunch of instances of it showing up, right? And so we're going to replace that with just quantity rule. So just this part right here. And we're going to replace all. So the entire file, we've replaced it every single time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to define what quantity rule is. And so you can see here, once you get to this part where you, around line 216, if you're on Dawn version 15.1.0, and it's going to have this liquid tag here, and it's going to be checking has quantity rule. And you have this TD element right here. And so we're going to create some space between those two sections, and we're going to copy and paste our code block in here. And we can save. And then we're going to scroll down, and you're going to see this input element here. And in here, you're going to see that if quantity underscore rule dot max does not equal null, then it sets this max value here. And so let's just create a little bit of space underneath that. And we're going to copy and paste some additional logic for the max attribute of our input. And we're just going to completely replace this max with that max because we actually have that as a condition in our new code. And so let's delete that, and we can save. And once we're happy with it, we can actually format this so that it looks a little bit better. But for now, let's just leave it like that so that we can see what's changed. And so that's it for the main-cart-items file. And we're going to do the exact same thing for the cart drawer file. So let's open up cart drawer. Watch out if you're opening the section, that's not actually what you want. The section will only give you this one line here. So if you end up opening the section, then you can actually get to the snippet by clicking that arrow, or you can just come down to the snippets area and just select cart drawer.liquid. So if you see this, this is just your section file. Okay, and so in here, we're going to do the similar steps. So we're first going to be looking for the item.variant.quantity rule. So we can Control F and look for every instance of this. And we're going to replace it with quantity rule. Replace all. And then you can see here again, we've got this liquid tag, and we are assigning has quantity rules here. And we've got this TD element, and we're just going to create a little bit of space in between. And we're going to copy and paste, again, the exact same code right there. Since we have two different files, the cart page and the cart drawer, so we just have to make that same change in both cases. And so that's it for the cart. Sorry, one last step. We got to do the input again. So we've got this input element here. We've got this max attribute here. So we're going to replace it with our new max logic. So right there, we can delete the old one, and let's save it again. Okay, so now let's head over to the main product.liquid file. And we're going to do something similar in here. We've got, we're going to look for this, this text here. So product.selected or first available variant.quantity rule. So let's just click next. You can see it show up a whole bunch of times, and we're going to replace it with quantity rule. And we're just going to replace all again. And then we're going to scroll up until we see the quantity selector block. We've got this div, and right below the div, we're going to create a little bit of space. It's going to be above these comments here. And we can actually just come back below the comments as well. And we're going to copy and paste our code into here. And you're going to see here we've got this existing cart quantity assignment, which is this right here. So we're going to just take this code here and just replace this part right there. And so now we've wrapped some code around our cart quantity assignment. And if we're using quantity rules, then we're actually going to be setting the cart quantity to something different, right? So depending on what's happening with the rules, whether it's by variant or by product, we have to check the cart to see how much is actually in the cart. So once you've done that, we can save. And now just a couple more changes. So right now, this should work if we initially load our page, but once we start changing the variant, then we have to actually update our quantity rules on the page and in the logic behind for the quantity selector so that the quantity rules are properly being updated. And so in order to do that, we have to edit the product info.js file. So let's open that up. And we're going to be looking for the handle update product info file. And what we can do is we can just come right below it. So we can highlight the curly bracket that opens here. And that's the pair, where it closes off. Come right below it, and let's copy and paste update quantity selector. Actually, let's come a little bit lower, because here we've got some other quantity methods. So we can just let's come right after the update quantity rules method. We'll keep the quantity related methods together. Okay, so we paste that in there, and then let's come back up, and you can see here we're back in the handle update product info method, and it's calling this update quantity rules method. And so what we're going to do is we're going to call our new method right above it, and then we're going to comment this out. So just do two slashes here to comment out this line, and we're just going to call this one instead. So we can save. And then one last file to change. This is going to be the quantity popover.js file. And then in here, we're going to make a couple of changes. So we've got this toggle popover method, and we've got this close popover method. And what we're going to do is, you see this line, this.info button desktop.classlist.add. We're going to change this into a button. So it becomes button.classlist.add. And then in the close popover, we're going to actually do something very similar. So you see here, this.info button desktop classlist.remove. We're going to change this.info button desktop to button. And then here we have to actually define the button a little bit, the is button child a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this line here, the definition of the button, and we're going to place it above these two right here. And then we're going to replace this info button desktop to button again. Okay, so once we've done that, we can save. And those are all the code changes. So now we should have our theme available to set quantity rules. But before we do that, we actually have to create our quantity rules. So let's go into our content area, and we have our quantity rule metaobject definition that we've just created, and there's no rules yet, right? And so we need them in order to actually set the rules. And so say, for example, we go to our product, and then let's go to our demo products here. So we're going to be using the quantity rules demo product. And if we scroll down here, we've got our quantity rule. And if we want to select a rule, we can't because there's no entry yet. And so we can add it from here if we wanted, or we can come here and add the entry here. But the same thing if we go to our variants, right? So we can bulk edit. And then if you don't see the quantity rule in the column, you can open up the column, add quantity rule, right? So we can select different rules for every single variant, but again, no entries. And so if we actually go and look at the store, rule, we've got no rules set here. So let's set some rules. So why don't we first add an entry? We'll create a few different ones. Let's say increment is 1, minimum is 1, maximum is 5. We'll do this one here. And the way I like to name them, you can name it anything you want, but this is just to make it easier for you to know what the rule is at a glance. And so I'll call this increment 1, min 1, max 5. Basically just giving all the information of these three in the name, so that once you've saved it and you come back out to your all your different definitions, you can see at a glance what this one represents. So let's add a couple more. Let's say increment by 2, minimum is 4, max is 12, and we'll call this increment 2, min 4, max 12. And then let's create one more. So let's do add entry. Actually, let's do two more. So let's do increment 1, minimum of 5. So let's do increment 1, min 5, and no max. And then let's do increment 1, min 1, max max 15. Okay, so increment 1, min 1, max 15. Okay, so now if we go back to our products, we will see that we have all these different entries that we can now add. And so let's make it so that all these black ones are the same. So we'll do it by color. So we'll say this one will have this color will have this rule, And then the blue one will have the second one here. And then we have this third one will be with the green. And then with red, we'll have the last one here. Actually, we'll just use the last one for red and white. Okay, so we can save. And then let's actually also set one at the product level. And let's make it different just so it's more obvious that we've changed. When we change the settings, that we can see what happens. So let's add a new entry. Let's go increment of, let's say 3, right? So min 3, and then we'll do 30 max. So increment 3, min 3, max 30. Just trying to have these different scenarios to make it more obvious when something's changed. So we'll save. Okay, and so now what we can do is we can go to our product. So this is our bundle product. Sorry, not bundle. Rules. And so right now you can see here, no rules are in place, but we did add the metafields, which means that once we check this box, we should see the rules show up right there. There we go. So since we're doing it by product rules, you can see the 3, 3, 30. But if we go by variant, then you can see here a maximum of 15. It's a different set of rules. So why don't we just save this? And we can refresh our page. And we got maximum 15, right? So we can add as many as we would like, up to a maximum of 15. So maybe we'll add 5 of these. And then we can go to blue. This one's a minimum of 5, so we can't actually go any less than that. So we're going to add, let's say, 8 of these. And then we can go to green. This is increments of 2, minimum 4, maximum of 12. So we can't go any more than 12. Can't go any less than 4. So maybe we'll add 6 of these. And then we got a red one, which maximum of 5. So we can't go any more than 5. But we actually already have 4 in cart, apparently. So maybe choose a different size. Okay, so here we've got maximum of 5. We can go up to 5. So we can add that in cart. So you can see here that, I mean, we've got a lot of products in cart now. Just keep adding them in. But you can see here how the rules are applying. And so in this case, we actually have this 99 that we added before. So if we try to check out, it's going to warn us that we actually have these rules. Oh, actually, no, this one is a different product. So this is a product that doesn't have any rules. As you can see, the little I here is not showing up beside here. It's because these two products, t-shirt 2 and original t-shirt, do not have rules. But these ones do. So you can actually see what the rules are. Max 5, max 5, max 15, max 15, min 5, increments of 2, right? So you can see all these different rules. But if we try to, say, break the rule, so let's put 30 here, right? It says item has a maximum of 12. It just doesn't let you. Or if this is a min 4, so if we try to go to 2, also doesn't let you, right? It has a minimum of 4. Okay, so keep in mind, if you don't want any rules to be applied, then you can actually just not set them. So you can clear the rules here, you can clear the rules here, and if you go into your variants, so let's save, I guess. It wants us to save. And then we can go into our variants, and we can clear out all of these rules for every single one of these variants. So our quantity rules are blank, right? So once we've done that, we come back to our product, and there's going to be no more rules applied, right? So you can't see, there's no message here. You go to the cart, no messaging for rules. We can, add 2,000 of these. well, I guess there's not enough inventory for that, but we can, okay, let's choose a different one. We can put 20 of those, and it'll be just fine. We could do another 20 of these, another 20 of these. So you can see here that no rules are applied. Okay, so you should now have added minimum and maximum quantity rules to your store. You can use it however you want, but they can be really useful for limited editions or special promotions. So you've seen how we can add it to the product level, the variant level. Maybe we don't have any rules at all, right? You can override them. So some products have product rules, some ones have variant rules. So a lot of flexibility on how you want to use it, and use it however you like to make it work for your store. I hope you found this customization useful. If you did, please subscribe. And if you want to hire us for any personalized help, just reach out to us at theprompted.co. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.